Have you ever heard about the call center worker who became an actress? What about the teacher who created her own line of skincare products? I know everyone knows someone who just kind of fell into their career, while others, they just always kind of knew what they wanted to do with their lives. Some people find ways to turn their passion into a profession, but how do they do it? My American Dream on AIB, where these out-of-the-box thinkers tell us about how they found their calling.
From the outside, an onlooker might confuse this building with an auto repair shop or a storage facility. But once you step foot inside the doors, you realize there's much more in store. From functional pieces like bowls and vases to artistic interpretations and sculptures, it's the creative cave of Nathan Nardi, who shares his passion for working with this molten material. Then, Michelle Larrabee-Martin and her husband Greg have a heart for supporting products that are made in America and even closer to home. Who knew a television program would inspire this couple to give Georgia locals an opportunity to set up shop in their store? But first, between Sam's Crossing and Avondale Estates and Agnes Scott College in Decatur, Georgia, the Decatur Glassblowing Studio is the home of glass artist and sculptor Nate Nardi. Nate studied art at Jacksonville University in Florida, and that's where he earned a bachelor's degree of fine arts. It's also where his passion for glassmaking began.
Well, I randomly fell into glass while I was going to college. Didn't really know what I was doing. I was taking different classes in school, and Jason Klein, somebody I didn't know at the time, came into a class I was taking and asked if anyone wants to see a glass blowing demonstration. I didn't know the first thing about it. Sounded interesting, went in and checked it out, saw him do a demonstration. Following semester took a class, and I've been doing it ever since.
A Bachelor of Fine Arts is considered to be the most prestigious bachelor's degree one can receive in the visual arts field. But Nate didn't stop there. He continued his studies and received a master's degree in the same field.
Glass is one of those things I could be working on the rest of my life and always pushing it to another level. It probably took, a solid 6 years of doing it as much as possible on a regular basis to have some of those basic skills down. But I've been doing it about 14 years, and I think that's one of the things I like about working with glass. You can always push it to another level, unless you can go bigger, you can go thinner, you can more delicate, more intricate. But yeah, that's one of the things I really like about working with glass. The process of using glass, glass has been used for about 5,000 years, but the blowing process, closer to 1st century AD, it was started, I believe, with the Romans. So about a little bit over 2,000 years, the actually blowing process, this process that I'm using, has been done. Much of the tools and equipment has changed very little over that 2,000 years. There's still many similarities to how it was done back then.
Nate's studies in glass art took him around the country before he returned home to Metro Atlanta in 2011.
So one thing I like about glass is the limitless possibilities of what can be done with it. I could be doing it the rest of my life and creating something new and different, size, shape, and color. There's probably millions of ways I could add and mix in colors or different types of colors into the glass. And that's one thing I really enjoy experimenting with when I'm working with the glass. Some of the simpler pieces I make, such as the pumpkins or the Spotted tumblers are just chips of crushed up colored glass rolled on to the hot glass and melted in, and you usually get kind of a spotted pattern. But as you can see in my showroom, there's unlimited possibilities. You can do really tight line patterns with the glass. You can use acrylic glass to create sparkly, swirly effects. You can swirl the colors. The color can be controlled very tightly to do certain patterns. A lot of my work, though, it's a mix between allowing that color to freely move and do what it naturally wants to do with the glass, with me kind of guiding it in a certain direction. But yeah, there's limitless possibilities to what can be done with glass. You can kind of get the idea for looking around my gallery and showroom here in Decatur.
Nate opened Decatur Glassblowing in 2013. Neither the hot Georgia climate nor the added heat of the kiln can keep him from shaping his fiery molten material into usable, unique objects.
I do all types of items, from ornaments, vases, little pumpkins, bowls, more sculptural work such as dragonflies and insects, sea forms, jellyfish, octopus, stingrays, different types of figurative work, a lot of abstract work. Once again, I just like working the glass and doing different things with the glass. Some of my more popular items are the necklaces and the pumpkins and the small vases and bowls and dishes. I do a lot of drinkware as well, cups, goblets, platters, bowls, functional decorative lighting pendants, glass sinks, many different types of work. As far as favorite or most complex colors, once again, back to the limitless possibilities of glass, you can always do something more complex, and I like the idea of experimenting and trying new things. So if I did one thing I like, I'm gonna have more fun trying something else I haven't done before than probably redoing that same thing over and over again, or maybe trying to perfect something I have done. Some of the more complex color patterns I have in here are the eyes and the beetles and the dragonfly over there, made up of tiny millifuries, all pieced together in a very tedious, meticulous way. Also, the white piece up on the wall over here has some of the Italian techniques. The reticello pattern in the center of it with the encamos and switch access. One of the more complex color patterns, if you look at that piece, you'll notice there's a tiny little bubble in between where each line crosses. Now, I did not make up that technique. It's an Italian technique that I learned from other people and kind of put somewhat my own spin on it. But part of the fun of doing that was just figuring out and learning how to do that process. Once I do some new process or color pattern in a simple piece, a lot of times I try to take it to another level and do something a little bit more creative and different with a color technique or a color pattern. As far as the hot blown glass process, you can only make something so big, but if you incorporate metal or some other structure to combine glass pieces, you can go as big as you want to go. So I do think glass and metal work very well together, and I hope to start doing some more larger scale glass and metal works and sculptures. And that is, the metal work has, I can't foresee having my own shop without having those skills, because once again, the building and maintaining the equipment, yes, you can buy glass blowing equipment somewhere. You can pay somebody to fix it, but it will cost a fortune.
Nate has received commissions from several artists and has assisted with numerous large-scale public installation works. Check out John Christie and Carolyn Madden's lyrical light exhibit online.
I enjoy really creating and making different things with the glass. We have hopefully trying to have something in here for everybody. Everything from a little glass pebble you can get for $1 up to a custom piece where you can spend as much money as you want to spend on it, such as the glass flowers outside, or the robot greeting you at the door when you come in. Some of the pieces, again, I really like the process of working with the glass, but some of the pieces that I've made I think are a little bit more complex and have a lot more process and detail in them, such as the sea forms and the insects and plant life I'm doing. I think those are some of the more interesting pieces that you're not going to see anywhere you go. But we do seasonal things such as ornaments or pumpkins, bird feeders, terrariums, and trying to do something for anyone, something for everyone. So right now we're in the showroom at Decatur Glassblowing, my studio located in Decatur, Georgia. I have a pretty good sized showroom here that has really good examples of many of the items I make. If I'm to do a custom order for somebody, I usually have them come here, look at what I have, and help figure out shapes and colors and sizes and see some of the possibilities of what can be done with the glass. It is kind of like taffy. It stretches and sticks to itself, but it's not going to stick to you. It will stick to metal if metal gets hot enough. You see us gathering up the glass on the end of those pipes and rods. You see us working with the metal tools, but we don't touch it for too long with those tools because it heats those tools up. Those tools are going to stick to it. But if a piece of glass was to fall off and drop on my arm, it would just slip off and onto the ground. Of course, I'd probably get a little burn from it. I'd say probably the biggest danger I've heard of working with the hot glass is when the glass gets too cold and it can pop and break. But that is why I wear safety glasses, because don't want it popping and getting you in the eye. That's probably the biggest danger, is my understanding. But as long as you're careful, just like if you're doing anything else, and respecting the material, respecting the process, we've never had any serious injuries. I don't know if I should even say that. I think we have had somebody get a small burn on their finger before in here. But if you're doing a class, we're right by your side, walking you through the entire process in a position where we can take over at any time or push your hand away if you reach for the wrong thing. If you'd like to learn some more about glass, this is a great place to come. But my vision at the moment, and things always change, but I am really want to make this a place where people can come and learn about glass and experience the process of working with glass, from coming and taking a class or coming to one of our events. We do events throughout the year where me and I also invite other visiting artists in and do demonstrations, and you can learn about the glass just by watching. A lot of times we'll talk about what we're doing and you're free to ask questions. I would like to make this kind of a attraction to the area and to Decatur, where people, when they come to Decatur or come to Atlanta, they want to come and check out the shop. If you notice, as you come into the shop, I not only do I have some glass sculptures outside I made, but I've had different artists paint the front of my building and the side of my building and the signs on my building. So I hope to slowly start to get more and more artwork from the local area and incorporate it into my property, and maybe slowly get more and more artists working in here, and maybe make this a place where other glass artists from other places would like to come and teach and do demonstrations, is where I hope to envision the future to be. I think it is starting to become a Decatur attraction as well. I mean, I'm starting to get more and more people that are just visiting, and they find out about me and they just want to come and visit the shop and see some glass or take a short class. Like I said, I enjoy doing glass, I enjoy teaching about glass, and once again, if you have any interest in glass and glass blowing and the process of glass, or the chemistry or the history or any of that, we'd be happy to have you in here and teach you a little bit about that. Please call or check us out online to schedule an appointment to come in and learn a little bit more about glass.
To learn more, check out the Decatur Glassblowing website, natenardi.weebly.com.